Returning to Marc Morano in a moment about the Green New Deal, I just do want to remind you, I'm speaking with Marc Morano, who is the head of ClimateDepot.com, D-E-P-O-T, of course, and has written another important book, Green Fraud, Why the Green New Deal is Even Worse Than You Think. We ended with what I think is the most important question. What do they really seek with the Green New Deal? So go ahead.
Well, what they're trying to do is convince the world, particularly America, that we face a climate emergency. And actually now, multiple senators, including Chuck Schumer and others, have urged Biden to declare a national climate emergency, which would give him similar emergency powers, potentially, like governors have had. And under this climate emergency, they're already talking about it's only morally justifiable to fly. You can only fly when it's morally justifiable. In France, under their climate emergency proposal, they're going to ban short-haul flights. They're talking about a reset of our diet. They're going after meat eating. They're going to be promoting, these vegetable-based processed burgers. They're going to be promoting insect eating and are promoting that. They're going after single-family home ownership. We had Andrew Yang running for president of Democrats. He was proposing the banning of private automobile ownership and instead offering people roving fleet of electric cars. We're seeing every aspect of your life, from your home thermometer to your appliances, to your backyard barbecue, to how you travel, to your energy use, monitored, controlled, and ultimately by controlling the energy grid, they're going to raise all of our prices dramatically to try to achieve this net zero vision of the future, which is essentially like an old Soviet plan where it's essentially stifling out all productivity and you're going to be working to meet bureaucratic, arbitrary measures. This is a vision of life under the Green New Deal. And, of course, I also go into the World Economic Forum in this, who calls it the Great Reset, but essentially their philosophy is they want to use the COVID to have a great reset of capitalism, and then, of course, it would be climate-friendly after that. So there's a whole bunch of powerful forces at play here trying to use the COVID-19 as a springboard to then use the Green New Deal to essentially reset global capitalism, which to answer your question directly, is a transfer of power from the people to the government. And that's what the lockdowns essentially did, one of the greatest transfers of wealth from poor and middle class to the wealthy, the billionaire class. And that's ultimately the Green New Deal's plan, is to have every aspect of your life regulated by government bureaucratic plans, because we can't be left to our own choices. A, we're not experts, and B, the earth can't handle it. That's what we're facing.
I don't know if you realize you came out with a comment, you probably make it often, but it is a brilliant synopsis of everything. Transfer power from the individual to the government. Have you said those words before?
Yes. I mean, I think that's ultimately the heart. We are no longer allowed to make decisions for ourselves. And I'll use the example of COVID-19. You can't plan a backyard barbecue. If there's too many people, your neighbors get rewards for snitching on you. And then you can have your utilities cut off. You can't have weddings, funerals. You have curfews. You can't leave the house unless you justify to a government official that it was essential services. This is what we're facing, and this is what was praised by the Green New Deal advocates. This is the frightening reality of what we're facing.
That's why they don't want nuclear power. It doesn't transfer power to the state. They can't regulate your thermostat. With nuclear power, all of this becomes irrelevant. This is incredibly important. That's why they say they loathe individualism. What does that mean? It means that the individual is more important than the state, which is what the American founding was about. That's why they hate America, because it stands for the individual, not the state.
Yeah, and the idea is it's ruled by experts ultimately. And think of the lockdown, think of, even climate issues. They present these experts, whether it's Fauci, whether it's, some UN scientist, and they've studied an issue for decades. Who are you, the average American, who doesn't have a PhD in either climatology or epidemiology? How can you question these words? They've studied it. These are academics. They're doing what's best for you. It's for your own safety. How dare you question it? This is for your children's safety. The regulations come in, and this is how they present it. And that's the idea. It's ruled by expert, ruled by government official, and the people. We're going to be left crushed by this. And here's the biggest thing. There's for the climate emergency, which I go in great detail of how they're trying to present this in the book, there's no criteria by which they say, okay, we've solved the problem, now we can allow a throttling back of government here. There is no criteria for that. In fact, it's vague and endless. And once they get started, the regulations keep going. In the UK, they proposed a CO2 card for every man, woman, and child where the government would monitor your home energy use, your travel. You would have, if you exceed your CO2, your energy budget, you pay fines and money. If you're under it, you get some kind of credit. This is a brave new world, so to speak,
That's
of what
right.
we're entering.
The book is Green Fraud, Why the Green New Deal is Even Worse Than You Think. Marc Morano, up at DennisPrager.com.
The Dennis Prager Show.
Forgot all about the library.